ABC News exclusively learning this was not Bryan Kohberger's first arrest. According to records reviewed by ABC News, Kohberger was arrested in 2014 for allegedly stealing his sister's phone, and it was Kohberger's own father, Michael, who called police. Documents show Michael told authorities his then 19-year-old son had struggled with drug addiction and had just exited rehab and rejoined the family. The records say Kohberger was charged with misdemeanor theft. He served no jail time.
Now, Monroe County, Pennsylvania offers first-time offenders the opportunity to have records expunged upon completion of probation.
And with the Five of Wands, I'm feeling like the home environment of this person is not great. I'm not saying he necessarily, let me not say home. The family dynamic is not great for this person. Is that an excuse for this? No. I'm just saying there is definitely problems within the dynamic of this person's family. However, it doesn't look like that on the outside. On the outside, cool, calm, and collected. We are family. On the inside, emotional avoidance, probably crossing the line in the way that they speak to one another when they're agitated, but not in the sight of other people. There's some form of a lack of emotional connection with someone that he desired to have an emotional connection with from childhood. Someone that he felt not supported by, or someone that he struggled to emotionally connect with that he felt like he should. And that kind of set the tone for a lot of things going forward for him. That's not me blaming anyone. I'm just telling you what I see. The child I was meant to be. Telling you something from childhood made him feel like he has no other choice but to make himself proud in some way. It's the inner child card too. I really feel like there's something from childhood that like he's going to try and bring into this somehow. Or maybe a connection that he's had since childhood. There's some element of that, but either way, I don't think the Page of Cups is like a blockage and emotional immaturity. While he's very smart and can read, like, he can understand people's emotions, but he doesn't relate to them, which is kind of typical of a narcissist or a psycho or anything like that. But in his case, it does feel like hold on. Eight of Cups. Yeah. It's like he wants to take things that have been done by other people and redo them better. I'm telling you, there's something from his childhood that is going to play a part here. It might not come out immediately, but it's going to come out. He was weighing his options for quite an extended period of time. This wasn't a decision that he made overnight. Six of Cups reversed. I'm telling you, there's something from his childhood that is going to play a part here. It might not come out immediately, but it's going to come out. And also he has a one-track mindset. Once he focuses on something, he's unable to think about anything else. Like a magnet getting completely stuck to another magnet that like you have to really force them apart. That's how he became with this idea. The Hermit in reverse is also about rejection. So Bryan did not live up to what he expected for himself, or he did not live up to what his parents expected for himself. It being a 3, I feel like it's both. He was, that makes sense. He was an underachiever. In his mind, he might have achieved on track with other people, but in his mind, he was an unachiever. underachiever. I think in his parents' mind, he was also an underachiever. Either that was spoken or not spoken, I'm not sure. And they may seem like the most proud parents in the world because obviously he's in that level of, well, he was in that level of reaching for success. But as a child, he felt like either he was never doing enough, he was never doing good enough, or he was always doing everything wrong, something like that. And that wasn't just his thoughts. Other people were thinking that as well, or he was feeling like other people were thinking that as well. It's like when you're reaching for something and it like, every time you like grab it, it gets a little further, a little further. That's what it was. That's the energy. And then his father's energy, Queen of Pentacles. Yeah. His father stepped into more of that nurturing role when it came to him. I bet you he's which I mean, again, we could assume, hold on. Excuse me. Which again, we could assume, but this is confirmation to me that his father was more in that hands-on nurturing bonding role where his mother was not as emotionally available or not as able to emotionally connect. And either that lack of connection or availability was what made him feel like I'm never doing anything right, I'm not achieving enough, I'm behind, something like that. Or they were just kind of side by side and not particularly because of one leading to the other. But there was both elements of that lack of emotional connection, the bond that was never either properly formed or the bond that was never nurtured and developed. And his father stepped into that nurturing role. Now he's trying to form that passionate bond with his career to make up for that void he feels from that lack of a bond with her. But the father did step in and kind of pick up the emotional slack, I guess you could say, in terms of bonding and like teaching him stuff that he would need to know. Not that his mother didn't. I think that she very, very much focused on teaching him as like what their bond was based off of. Instead of like the emotional connection, it was more of like, I can teach you this and that and this and that, life skills and all that. But I do feel like emotionally what he's learned has mainly been from his father. But as a mother right now, what's going on internally, in my opinion, allegedly, is that she's like, I like, she's blindsided. She could have known, but as a mother, feels like, and his mother coming up as the fool to me is telling me she was not ready for this. She feels like, how could I not have... And again, there's no way she could have known. I'm not saying she could have known. But as a mother right now, what's going on internally, in my opinion, allegedly, is that she's like, she's blindsided. She's blindsided. How they're saying that the parents are very surprised, I don't believe that about the father, but I do believe that about the mother. I don't think she knew. I think she came to know, not like just now, but like I think she came to know a couple weeks ago, but was so blind. Either she knew for sure or she saw signs, but either way, it's almost like in the beginning how we were like, oh, everyone, how would the killer's parents not know, because he would fit into this criteria and he'd be driving this. It's almost like she heard those things but was like, oh, didn't even think of it. And then all of a sudden something started to add up to her, and she was like, oh, like how, like, it makes sense, but how? I don't know, like, it's not that she completely feels like it was, in retrospect, she's like, okay, I should have picked up on this or saw these signs, but there's no way she could have known that it would lead to this. but she definitely felt unprepared. So I don't think that she came into the knowing of this through him being like, hey, by the way, I did this. I don't think that she came into the knowing of this by the husband, by the father saying, hey, he told me this on the road trip. I think there was some kind of BS story given from Bryan to the father, and then they told the mother nothing. I think that she figured it out on her own, and I think that she was the one to help in some way, turn him in some way. If she didn't, I think she was getting ready to. And then the father's energy now. Three of Cups in reverse. Yeah, I don't think that he told his wife. I think that it's almost like he didn't want her to even have that knowledge of like, I don't think he told her. I think that Bryan told him some story that wasn't true on the road trip, but wasn't, hey, I'm guilty. But I think he told him something that made him look like, uh-oh, there's potential for me to get in trouble here, but I'm not guilty, I guess you could say. But I think the father kept that information to himself. I don't think they involved the mother in that. Three of Pentacles. There is a team though. That's what I just pulled a card for to see. Like, I feel like there's three people that are working together in the aftermath of this. Like, if the action of the crime up into even including getting rid of the knife, all of that event separate from the time he left on the road trip until he got arrested, I feel like there's three people, Bryan, his father, and another individual that are involved in some kind of planning or cover-up, strategy, something. However, I don't think that they are doing it because he said, hey, I did this and I need help. I think that they've been told some kind of story that's not correct because Bryan thinks he's smarter than everybody. Relationship with his sister. Let's do when they were younger. We'll do his sister, the energy between them, and then Bryan. The Sun in reversed. Six of Cups reversed for the energy between them. Huh. Knight of Pentacles. So when they were younger, the sister was the one that did everything right. She was the one who got all like the praise. The one who is made to feel more protected, especially emotionally. This caused a tension between the two of them. I think it was more of an unexpressed tension that built up over time. I'm not seeing them fighting a lot per se when they were younger, because it was like each of them wanted to be seen as like the golden child in their parents' eyes. So I don't see a lot of fighting between the two of them, but I do see like unspoken tension, especially through the teenage and like early 20s. His sister definitely does have some trauma from childhood. Five of Pentacles reversed. There is some kind of financial trouble that the family experienced when they were younger, and that it's either that led to tension, it's like there's like a shared mental health problem between Bryan and his sister. And again, this isn't me like bashing his sister, but they share a similar mental health, maybe not a diagnosis, but like something that could be diagnosed, as in like it's developed enough to be able to be diagnosed, even if it's not. But they have something very similar, and that's why she either wanted to hang on to hope or wasn't able to see this, something like that, because she sees the similar pain from herself in him, and there's that like wanting to protect the wounded part of him because it's the same as the wounded part of her. I'm not seeing this as abuse. I'm not seeing it as anything intentional or malicious. I'm just seeing it as almost like there was an inability for Bryan to connect to others. And that inability created like a discomfort or like an inability for others to connect in the family or not connect in the way that they wanted to because they didn't want to be like, oh, look, we're connecting, but we can't connect with you. There's a definite difference in the dynamic of the relationship the parents have with the sister and the parents have with Bryan. And again, I don't see like fighting a lot. Like I don't see sister brother like, I hate you, I hate you. It's almost like bonded over pain, but it didn't really come to the surface to be talked about. I don't even feel like they talk about it that much, but it didn't really become acknowledged until they were adults. So there was some like buildup of underlying tension. But there was definitely some jealousy from Bryan to his sister because she was the golden child that he wanted to receive emotionally what she was, but he was unable to connect in the way that she was. Because then we have the Knight of Wands, which is like his temper originated from this. Like this is what caused his temper to begin and start to brew, because he felt compared to his sister in a way that was hurtful to him as a child. Not that anyone did it purposely. Not that anyone was like, oh, let me create a murder. That's not what I'm saying. But nonetheless, whatever happened did affect his psyche in a deep level. And it has something to do with the comparison or the lack of balance between him and his sister. His temper really developed through that element. He became very impulsive because of this, because it's almost like whenever he saw the opportunity to achieve that praise, he would take it because he needed it, because he was always competing for it. He tried to be, it's like he tried to be very charming for a period of time and it didn't work in the way that he wanted to, or didn't yield the results that he wanted. So he just stopped. He's like, all right, this way is not getting me the praise that I want, and it's too hard to be like this, so I'm just not going to do it anymore. And to fill that void that he was experiencing, he said, I need to find something that I'm passionate about and devote everything to it. Just like my mom finds her passion and her purpose in her work, I need to find the same. I need to go take care of my cat 1 second. So essentially, it's almost like a reversal of everything he experienced when he was a child. He felt like his mother was he felt as though his mother found more emotional fulfillment from her career than from parenting him. That caused temper. That caused the desire to succeed to an exceedingly high degree. And moving it back more, that is kind of why he wanted to succeed so much at his career and find that purpose and fulfillment through his career that his mother was finding, that he felt like was replacing him, replacing the fulfillment. It's almost like he felt as though the mother was replacing the fulfillment she should have found through parenting him through her career. So now he's trying to do that to fill the void left by that lack of emotional connection. Hopefully that makes sense. That was a lot of words. He clings to anything that makes him feel as though he's fulfilling that golden child role, golden child role. That could be in school, that could be in relationships, in every element of his life. That's what he's striving for, is to be the better one than whoever is on the other side. That was what, when they were younger? Okay. His relationship with his sister now. The moon in reverse is his sister's energy. The Four of Swords is the energy between them. And Four of Cups is his energy. Huh. So the sister is afraid. The sister is... This could go two ways. Either she's afraid of herself because, as I said, she sees so much of her pain in him. It's almost like she's like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to move past this? Like, what is happening? Am I going to be able to move past this stigma? Am I going to be able to move past this association with my brother? Am I going to be able to move past these memories? Like, she was already wounded, and now this is really, really trying. They're making something public about a decision that was made during Bryan's childhood. Making something public about a difficult decision that was made during Bryan's childhood that has something to do with maybe him being sent somewhere, like a camp. Or maybe it's something that he was, like medication or something from childhood that they're going to say affected him in a way that took him out of his, like, out of body type of experiences. I don't know, but his childhood's going to play a big role in this case somehow. Like in a weird way, not just like, boo-hoo, my childhood stinks, like, Five of Clubs. Yeah, something that happened to his, like, I feel like it's some medication. I feel like it... It's almost like maybe they'll try to link some medication he was on when he was younger to his drug use, and then... Yeah, like they're good, like he, it's wild, like maybe like, see, I don't know if this would be him admitting guilt, like, so like if it came to that point and he was eventually backed in a corner after trial, after appeals, whatever, then it may, like if he does have to admit guilt, I think it would be kind of basing it off of, like, blaming it on something that, like, became wrong with his mental health from a decision that was made for him during his childhood. But I also feel like there's another way he may use that as well. It may not come to only if he admits guilt. There's like another way he can use this. Like, I didn't do it. I don't admit guilt, but this is why some of my behavior was the way it was, or something like that. All right. Madison wants to be the one to say it is the atomic bomb of information during the court case. He has something that is equal to the atomic bomb that he will drop during this case. What is it? I can't. Gotta figure out what it is. I'm gonna pull 4 cards. Lockbox, closed, trapped, frustrated. Pressure cooker, ready to explode. something that numbed or repressed his emotions, but how? Pressure cooker though, that's pretty accurate. Wish in reverse. Hope, praying and yearning, but in reverse. And tragedy in reverse, forbidden love. Was he gonna say he was molested? No, maybe. All right, maybe it'll come to me. This is something important, but I don't know why I'm not able to get it yet. Like, it's like I'm trying to see it, and it's like someone just turns off the movie screen, and I can't see anything else. I don't know if that part just won't make sense until we get through more of this. I'm feeling that might be it. It may just be too early in this booklet to get that piece of information, because these lines do kind of go back and forth through readings. Like, one line went here and then one line went to the next one, but it's all for like a purpose for it to unfold in some way. So I'm feeling like this just we may not have all the pieces of it yet. There's something really significant from childhood, like that he was given or done to him or experienced by him. Not that it's an excuse at all for anything that happened, but like what's making me anxious about that is because there's some way he can use it to his advantage without being like, I'm guilty and this is why. It's like it's like an excuse for something else. Like, it's not saying I'm guilty and this is my excuse. It's like, this can explain away this part of what you have on me and create reasonable doubt. It's like something medical that happened to Bryan, but I don't know how he can use that. I don't know if maybe this is just referring to like his drug use and like that being the reason why he was seen in the area as many times as he was. Or I don't know if this is referring to like something that happened during childhood that somehow but the 4 is like can deal with like the army or like special forces or something. So something about Brent and drug connection. The defense, the man who was at it, I forget his name. Oh, the maestro, master of inspiration, understanding, community, ingenuity. The quality of being clever, original, and inventive. And he's holding a book. It's like, what's that saying? Throwing the book at him? But that would be, it's almost like throwing the book back at him. Like, oh, look, well. It's like when someone has a particular logic or way of looking at something, and then you find a way to use that same logic against them. Like, oh, okay, well, if that's how you think, then explain how you could get to this. Arthur, champion of Avalon. Championship, nobility, and self-realization, and it's a man with a sword. It's so weird that the sun in reverse came out first to me. And this is why. Because I keep getting some very important reference to his childhood. And the sun in reverse is kind of like something from my childhood is blocking me, or I'm blocked because of something that is not all the way healed or wrapped up or something from childhood. And the Fool in reverse is like, I wasn't ready for this. I was thrown into this. which, because Bryan is seemingly such a calculated person, I mean, guilty or not, when they arrested him, he was wearing gloves in his kitchen. That, to me, is like, you're at least thinking about what you're doing. You're not just completely careless. Other things that he has done proved lack of carelessness. Okay, so like he's present in his mind. So the Fool in reverse to me is weird here, because it's like, how would he be unprepared for something because of something from childhood? It keeps bringing me back to that same mind control element, or something similar. I don't know. I even said this to my assistant, Brooke. I said, I don't know if I even want to say that out loud on YouTube before, like, when I first started, like, picking up on it, and I couldn't, it got to the point where I couldn't really ignore it, and I was like, I don't even know if I can say that, like, I don't know if that's something, and then the one reading, it just kind of came out, and I was like, oh, okay, well, everyone's not saying you're absolutely crazy. People are kind of seeing where I'm coming from with it. And now it's like, I can't see the situation without it. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It like switched from like, oh, this is a possibility, to like, this is going to filter into every avenue that you see the situation from. Three of Cups reversed. That gives me like an outside looking in, and I also have the Hanged Man in reverse, and then the Page of Swords. So that's the first row of 5, and then the Star reversed. So the Star reversed is under the Sun reversed. Something from childhood has caused me, Bryan, allegedly, to not read the situation the right way. And then I'm pulled into something because I am not able to see something the right way. I feel like it's me against whatever else, but I'm being forced into something. Hanged Man in reverse, Page of Swords, makes me feel like I pushed back, or I tried to figure something out, or I maybe even said no. Somebody played on my vulnerability or something. 5 of Swords also came out, and so that would be under the 3 of Cups reversed. So yeah, it's me against a situation. I don't see things clearly because either I'm not equipped, I never learned something, that there's some kind of like emotional stunting here, which I know has been tossed around because of what people have said that knew him. But it's almost like I don't know, I know that people have kind of questioned if he was possibly on the spectrum or something like that. That's almost what this feels like, or something similar. Like there's some kind of like lack of understanding of something. And then the Three of Cups reversed and Five of Swords underneath of it. It's like there's pressure coming in. I do something, or I agree to something, or I step forward into something because I'm not understanding what it really is. Hanged Man in reverse, Page of Swords, makes me feel like I tried to back out, or buy time. Buy time. Sorry, I know I'm being slow with this one. I'm just really trying to make sure I make all the way sense of this. Seven of Cups reversed. Queen of Wands. So this is under the Page of Swords. I said in the other reading that I almost felt like Bryan discovered something or uncovered something, and that's kind of why things fell apart, because it was like, okay, now we needed to get rid of him too. That's what this says to me. It's almost like if you're looking for something, right, specific, but on that search for something specific, you uncover like this whole hidden Easter egg. Home, son, childhood, something from childhood, home. I'd be curious to know if Bryan's behavior as a child or something as a child, if there was ever like a medical option, like, oh, well, he can go to this place and we can try and work on him, or you can try this from home. The Fool in reverse. Law enforcement. Wasn't ready for the pressure, wasn't ready for what he was up against. Three of Cups reversed. Missing piece in reverse. So Three of Cups would be, I feel like it's me against whatever situation that I'm up against that I wasn't prepared for because I'm missing, or not missing, but like something is something from childhood is not helping me to understand something that's unfolding that I wasn't all the way prepared for. Missing piece in reverse for Three of Cups reversed. Missing piece in reverse. I never felt true support from others, so I let myself get too deep into something because I felt supported. Missing piece in reverse. It looked like it was gonna be that missing piece, but it wasn't, because missing piece in reverse. Okay. I never felt truly supported. I felt like something was missing. I let myself get too involved in something because I felt like I was getting that element that I felt like was previously missing. But then I realized that there was something that I was not reading correctly because I wasn't prepared to read it correctly because I was missing pieces from childhood. Missing pieces as in like understanding certain things, reading certain maybe people's intentions. I thought I found it, but missing pieces in reverse, so I realized I didn't find what I was missing. I just got myself into something that I was not prepared for. Hanged Man in reverse. This is where I'm interested to see what comes out. So 2 came out, and I was just about to say I'm going to pull Hanged Man in reverse and Page of Swords and then read them. So Hanged Man in reverse is legal proceedings in reverse. And Page of Swords reverse is lies in reverse. I told the truth. I found the truth. I told someone I found... Oh. I told someone I found the truth. Legal proceedings in reverse. Had to be blocked from being able to say what I found. Lies in reverse for Page of Swords is I told someone else the truth that I found. I found the truth and I told someone else. Curiosity. Page of Swords reverse, lies. Page of Swords upright, lies in reverse is like curiosity killed the cat, but like curiosity killed the cat because the cat opened its mouth, like that kind of thing. The cat found out the truth about something and curiosity stepped in. I don't know. The Star reversed. Neighborhood. So this is then under the Sun in reverse and Hotel Motel in reverse. There has to be something. There has to be something that was offered to him, allegedly in my opinion, when he was younger. We can either take him to this place or you can try this from home. Something like that, and something like that plays a role here. I don't know how, but it does. Allegedly, in my opinion. You know what's interesting? The H is missing from this. And it would be a capital H because the other letters were capital, so it'd be like that, but there's no H, so it's almost like how this H is there. It's almost like there's no H because there's no one side connecting to the other side, if that makes sense. Nine of Cups reversed. Secret. This came out under the Fool reversed and Law Enforcement. I don't know what to say other than I really think that there's two cards. Does Bryan know about whatever it is that I feel like I'm seeing? Like, does he know? Like, if there was some kind of treatment or something when he was younger that affected him, does he know about it now? The Magician. Ace of Wands reversed. Yes, but I'm blocked, or yes, I know about the blockage. The Magician would be like, I suspected it, I sought out answers, and I found them. And the Ace of Wands reverse is like, I never really got a fair chance because of it. Does Bryan have any proof of it, or is there any way he can use that knowledge? King of Wands and the Hierophant. A bold move that I know how to use. A bold move that I have this higher knowing about. To clarify the Magician, King of Wands combo. Got ya. Mental health. Clarify the Magician and the King of Wands. I suspected it, I sought out answers, I found them. King of Wands, I'm being bold. Clarify the Ace of Wands reverse with the Hierophant. Accident. To me, this reads like a situation that may, allegedly, my opinion, have unfolded something like this. Allegedly, my opinion, no fact. This would be a situation where, like, maybe there's like a troubled kid, or maybe there's a kid who's misunderstood, or maybe there's a kid who they're not really sure how to help or handle, or something like that. So this would be like, if there's some back and forth, maybe some appointments or knowledge about this, but nothing can really be figured out, right? But like, they're actively working towards it. This would be like, if then something happens, like, so there's already a case open, they're already aware, but then let's say the child does something that they shouldn't, or something that's like crossing the line, right? So then it's like, okay, well, we have to do something. So do you want us to take the child and we'll try this inpatient care here, or do you want to keep the child at home and you can try this? That's what I'm seeing. And like, I'm not necessarily saying that it's something illegal. I'm not necessarily saying it's mind control. Do I think it may be? Yes. Allegedly, my opinion, that there may be something like that, but it doesn't have to be that. But there's something like that that plays a very important role here, because it messed him up. But with the accident card and mental health card, to clarify over here, it makes me feel like there was something that was like, okay, well, he should be in trouble, but he's just a kid. He's a really young kid. So like, we're going to try this last ditch effort to do this. And it was like some kind of, I don't know. And I don't know. To me, that would be like a misrepresented cure or something. I don't know. Or maybe like propaganda, I guess in this instance, could be like the side effects of something was not properly explained. And then, I don't know, 7 of Cups in reverse, murder, suicide in reverse, and party in reverse. And that's underneath of legal proceedings in reverse, hangman in reverse. To me, that says you found out about something and you had to get out of the way as well. 6 of Cups is underneath the Fool reverse with law enforcement. 9 of Cups reverse with secret. That, to me, is my past is chasing me. My past will not let me go. My past, it came back to bite me. The Sun reverse, the Star reverse, 4 of Cups. I'm trying to get up and get on with it, but my past is not letting me. Three of Cups reversed, 5 of Swords. 3 of Pentacles. 3 of Cups reversed, independent, and then 5 of Swords. I'm fighting against something. 3 of Cups, I'm on the team now. So it's like, convincing, or it feels like a debt. I don't know how to explain it, because it feels like a debt that you don't know that you owe because you don't technically owe it, but it's still time to collect. But 3 of Cups reverse is independence, and then 3 of Pentacles is working as a team. And in between that is the 5 of Swords. So it's like you forced me to be on the team, or you convinced me to be on the team, or I owe something, so I'm a lone person, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm working with these other people. Underneath of the Hanged Man reverse and the 7 of Cups reversed. Knight of Swords reversed. Hangman reversed, legal proceedings. 7 of Cups reversed, murder, suicide, and party both in reverse. Knight of Swords reversed. I'm trying to do stuff differently. My past keeps coming back to bite me. All of a sudden, I'm on this team because I didn't really have another option to say no. Excuse me, just like breathed in a bunch of air. So in one of my earlier readings, I said, the air, hold on. Swallowed like a bubble of air. one of my earlier readings, I said, I felt like Bryan wanted to murder, but somebody presented him with the plan and the victims or something like that. But this is like, I'm going about my life and my past keeps catching up to me. Going about my life, past keeps catching up to me. I'm trying to get away from it, but I can't because the law enforcement with the police car is there, so it's like it's chasing me. I'm not prepared because the Fool reversed. Secret, 9 of Cups reversed. I'm looking into something and I know I shouldn't be. Because I just can't, there's something that doesn't make sense to me. I'm forced to be. Let's see what comes out. Page of Swords, Queen of Wands. Queen of Swords. We're gonna take a commercial break. Totally unrelated. Okay, we're going off tangent, totally unrelated. Wouldn't it be crazy if, let's say there's somebody that uncovered something major that they're not supposed to know about, and they tell somebody what they uncovered, and that somebody knows they're not supposed to uncover it, and gets that other person to do something bad so that they can go down for it, so that they can't ever talk about what they uncovered. Four of Cups, Six of Cups, Three of Pentacles, Knight of Swords reversed, Queen of Swords. Let's see what clarifiers come out here. End of commercial break. Back to the show. Four of Cups. So, work. Four of Cups, work. Is it possible that Bryan was trying to get in with the police force? Because I was getting something about him wanting to find victims. What if that's not a victim pool for himself? What if that's looking into records of people to see if anybody has similar experiences to what he's trying to make sense of? I think I have to go back and watch all my readings from the beginning. Because if it's not looking for a victim pool, if it's looking for like records of almost like allegedly, my opinion, I want to be in a position so I can access records of people who commit crimes or something, so I can look and see if they have similar because I did get, okay, so I got that he wanted to find a victim pool, and then we also got that he wanted to study the criminal mind. So what if that's not separate? What if it's not victim pool for crimes that you want to commit and then study criminal mind? What if that's together? Like, I want to be able to study the minds of people that I'm seeing, like, okay, I have this puzzle. Let's see what comes out here. 6 of Cups. Travel. Travel coming out for 6 of Cups is making me think of that quote, like, I'm going, or the lyrics, I'm actually hearing the song, I'm going back to the start. That song, who sings that? It's an older song. Journey? Crap. Anyway, that's the song I'm hearing with that. I'm trying to move forward. My past won't leave me alone. Going back to the start, because that's where he was arrested, at home, and that is the road that came out with law enforcement and the Fool in reverse. So, didn't see that coming. I mean, maybe he did because he was wearing gloves. I don't know, but 3 of Pentacles. So this came out under propaganda, fake news, and that was the card that I took as maybe like something not being fully disclosed or explained about something, treatment wise or medication wise or something wise. Knight of Swords. 2 came out. Drama in reverse and fraud in reverse. For Knight of Swords. It's like a debt that you don't know you owe. Reversed corruption. Corruption is covered. Corruption in reverse is exposed. 8 of Wands. I'm trying to buy time to expose the corruption. So we start with something from my childhood has made me not see a situation clearly, got too involved in it before I could figure out what was going on. And we end with, I'm buying time to expose the corruption. We're going to start at the surface and peel away one layer at a time. Let's pull clarifiers for these. And then we're going to wrap this up for now. Because I also want to do a reading to check in on the submersible. See if we can get anything updated. The Emperor. What are the chances that we actually get to see this trial? 2 cards. 4 of Wands. Three of Swords. It's kind of what I thought. We're going to start out seeing the trial, and then it's going to shut down at some point. We're going to be able to watch from our homes at first, and then at some point it's going to be lights out. We can't show you this anymore. Allegedly, in my opinion. The Lovers reversed. Top secret classified. What's top secret classified? The Lovers reverse. That's, I'm turning on the link. I'm splitting with the link. I'm not waiting for the link to save me. Queen of Pentacles reversed. Couple. Five of Pentacles. Jealousy. And a clarifier for jealousy. Kidnapped. There's this feeling of like, I want to be the best. I want to be the best. I want to be the highest rewarded or something. Or the highest endeared by the link. And then it's like, okay, I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. Commercial break, totally unrelated topic. What if there was 2 people who were kind of vying for this top position with this person who had influence or power to get them into certain positions that they wanted to be in, so long as they do what she wants? So what if these 2 people were starting to become buddy-buddy, and one of them found out about something that they shouldn't know about and disclosed that to the other one, but the other one wants to get that one out of the way, so that other one discloses that information to that person that they're trying to win favor with. And then boom, next thing you know, one is dead or missing or disappeared, and one is in jail for quadruple homicide.